everyone. Mr. Moody here, your entrepreneurship instructor. I'm here with my boy Rick Daman, Daman Strength Training. He and I go way back, and I just finished my workout. I'm having a cup of coffee. It's an excellent recovery drink.
Is there honey in that?
There's no honey. You guys know that I drink coffee all day, all night sometimes. And you know that I've mentioned on several occasions that business is really, and there's a lot of correlation and crossover, regardless if you're a freelance designer or if you're opening like an HVAC company, plumber, if you're a plumber, you're looking to start your own company, or in this case, you know, a gym in a neighborhood in western Pennsylvania. So what's important here is to kind of see the correlation between what you can do as a young designer, and I wanted to sit down with Rick and ask him some questions so that he could give you some feedback on what it was like to start his own business, some of the challenges, expectations, growth, some problematic situations, and then just some advice, you know, for any of you that are looking to perhaps start your own business. So we won't delay. We'll get this kicked off, and we'll go from there. So.
Okay.
So welcome, Rick.
Thank you.
Welcome to the couch, the great couch. This is the couch.
Couch of the gym.
Couch of the gym. So the first question I want to ask you is, how would you define an entrepreneur?
An entrepreneur is someone who every day basically wakes up with a purpose, an adventure, someone who you're constantly thinking, you're constantly trying to make your business or your approach better. Someone who you basically have to wake up every single day and you have to be on task. You have to be prepared. An entrepreneur, there's people who will say, well, you own your own business, you have a lot of freedom. You own your own business, you must be lucky. You're on your own business, you can do what you want. I mean, those are all false. Okay? Yeah, there are times where like you do have some freedom, but early on your being an entrepreneur, it's not that way. The more you listen to people talk to you and tell you things like that, the less you're going to get accomplished. So being an entrepreneur is someone who you wake up with a purpose every single day. You're on task and you have certain goals that you have to accomplish every single day. They don't have to be huge goals, but they're goals to help move the chains per se in your business to continually every single day progressively get better.
Right. That's good. The other key there too is that you have to take action. A lot of times there's a kind of a false interpretation that people believe that if you dream about something, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, you can dream all you want.
Yeah, right. And people talk a lot about having passion, and in a business owner, you have to have a lot of passion. You have to want to do this day in and day out. But passion without action is going to get you nowhere.
Nothing. It'll get you nowhere. I mean, there are a lot of people that have a lot of passion, but they get excited for an idea, and not everything you do is going to work. But whatever you have passion for, you should be trying to do it. You're going to fail miserably sometimes, but that's the process of growth when it comes to being an entrepreneur, because then you find out, what did I fail at? And then you're either going to push it to the side forever, or you're going to get back on your horse and keep going, because you're going to fail more than you're going to succeed. But when you succeed, it's going to be good.
That's good. So, all right, question 2, just to help provide you guys with a little bit of background, I want Rick to tell us a little bit about how we started DST, your Daman Strength Training.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think about when this started in 2009, but it started way before that. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with like bodybuilders, bodybuilding magazines. I've never really got into bodybuilding, but I was always obsessed with like the culture of like physical training, lifting weights. That started probably around the age of 12, maybe a little bit younger. I'd put Stone Temple Pilots on my CD and put it in the basement, and I would train. My first ever workout set was the Hulkamania workout set. Remember that kit?
Hulksters.
The Hulksters, and it had the tape. You put that music. So that's really when it started. Then my dad started getting me more weights. I had my own little gym in my basement, and I kind of became hooked. And I always wanted to own my own business. Downtown Rochester on Brighton Avenue, there was a gym. It was called Junction City back in the 70s. Then it moved to Fitness World in the late 80s, early 90s, and that's when I started going down there. When I was like in like 91, 92, I was like 10 or 11, and from that point on, I knew I wanted to own my own gym. So then I went to college, and I kind of lost the grasp of being able to own my own gym, because I remember people would say, "What do you want to do in your world?" Like, "I want to own my own gym," and people say, "Oh, it takes a lot of money." Yeah, you have to know a lot about business, and it instantly like gave me this negative thought, like I'll never have enough money, and I'll never know anything about business, because how am I going to know? So I kind of forgot about it. Went to IUP, got a degree in criminology. To this day, I have no reason why. Probably just want to go to IUP and have fun. But after I graduated IUP, I came back to Rochester, started coaching high school football, and I started running our weight room program. And I really put my heart and soul into that program for about 8 years. And I remember thinking, like the 4th year into it, after putting my own money into the program and just getting kids in, running multiple groups, I was like, this is something I wanted to do since I was a kid. Why don't I get back to, starting a gym? And I started traveling to like New Jersey, New York, and learning from guys and other businesses, small gyms. And then 2009, I went for it. Found a tiny little garage. It was about 700 square feet. It was the only place I looked at. I didn't care. It just was square, and it was perfect to get started. And that's how I started. And then Sean came on board, not too long after that.
Short time afterwards.
Yeah, short time after, and here we are.
There's one thing I know, and Rick forgot, you just didn't really mention it, but in your reading for this week, there's going to be 6 myths of business and about starting a small business. And one of the myths is kind of ironic that I know that the timing of when you opened DST, the market was down, and we were in a period of a recession.
Yeah.
And it was right around what? Thanksgiving?
It was the Monday after Thanksgiving. The economy was literally at its poorest. At its lowest point. Christmas was a month away, and that's literally like your slowest times in business. And I was opening a business,
right.
And it wasn't because I just had no clue. Yeah. I just didn't care. I was just like, psh.
And it's good too, because in their book, when they read these first few chapters, one of the 6 myths of starting a small business is you can't open a business in a recession. And obviously it's proof that if you just put your foot to the pedal.
Yep.
You can make anything.
You can
happen,
do it.
for
Absolutely.
Sure. So, okay, now this is a broad question, and I'm sure that this in itself could be an interview.
Right.
But the next question: what are some of the challenges of owning your own business?
Well, one of the first challenges that come to mind is that you literally have to be prepared. Like I mentioned earlier, is to work every single day. Your mind is never off. You have to be prepared on taking notes, following leads, communicating with your staff, and you just have to understand that even though you might not be in the gym or your business for that day, like you're going to work. Like you are going to work. There is no off day. It's 7 days a week. It literally can be a 24-hour work session. I mean, you have to cut it off and stop, especially if you have a family, but you literally have to be prepared to work your butt off on a daily basis. Some other challenges of owning your own business, Sean always talks about this, and he kind of reiterates it all the time, is like you have to reinvent yourself all the time. Like, this gym is here. It's a very popular place in Beaver County, and I'm thankful for that, and it's because of the people that we have in it and people working in it, but people aren't knocking on the door to come here all the time. Like, you have to put it out there what we offer. The more that you put out what you offer, the more the good word. I think one thing that I've always been able to keep in my head is like the good word travels fast, the bad word travels even faster. So if you're delivering poor content, if you're delivering poor training or poor relationships with your people, that is going to spread like wildfire. But the better you treat your people, which should be natural anyway, it's going to slowly spread, and when it does, it catches on, and that's what we're experiencing right now. Is there anything else we could you think about challenges?
Well, I think that the landscape in business has changed drastically. Social media has dynamically changed that. and I'm sure that everyone has heard of the term the customer is always right. That couldn't be even more true now.
Right.
The business landscape is very customer centric. You have to over deliver and focus on your client or your customers. You have to give them more than they expect to receive.
Right.
You have to constantly follow up with them. You may be working with a group of people, but you have to make each individual person feel like they're, singled out, and that there's communication with them.
Yeah, and the busier you get, you're never going to be perfect. You're going to have times of drop off, but you have to, and it's a lot of it's talking to them, conversations. If they're sitting down waiting for a session, you sit next to them, you ask them questions, and it's not because you're doing it because that's what you're supposed to do. It isn't like business, like this is going to help me grow financially. That's really not the idea behind it. The idea behind it is you're supposed to care about your clients because they came here because they say, basically when they walk in that door, they're saying, I need help. They're not going to say it out loud, but their arms are up in the air. They're saying, I need help. Or I brought my daughter here because she's having image issues and her confidence is at the lowest, and we're concerned as parents. So they're walking in the door and they're asking you for help. And as collectively as a staff, you have to understand that. And that's what you deliver the most.
Right. And to translate that for you guys designers, it's the same thing. When people come to you perhaps about freelance work, it could be something as simple as a logo or a short. It's because they have no idea where to start. If it's video related, they have no idea where to start. And that's why they require your expertise for that. So their hands are in the air in the same aspect, and it's your responsibility to take care of that person and provide them with the best service.
And if you do provide, I can't tell you how many people are in this gym that have come from someone. More people in this gym have come from word of mouth or because they hear how well they're treated here than an Instagram post or a Facebook post. Like there's people in here that have read articles in the paper or have, their sons are here now, but their mothers used to train in the gym 3 years ago and they just loved it so much that they knew this is where they were going to take their kids. So there's a correlation of business and growth in a time span. There's people in here that have come from every walk of life, through every different aspect of life, and they come here because of one sole thing, and it's because how well that they're treated, and that how much they hear from current members, so they want to see what it's about. So that's a
right. Yeah. There's one thing that kind of close to. I think that that if people don't look at individuals coming through the door as customers, if you just treat them just like people.
They're people.
They're just people. If you just talk to them like they're people, I think your business growth and your challenges have decreased a little bit because you're not trying to put on a facade or a face and pretending to be something that you're really not. So those are good things. Moving on, and again, this is another broad one because we do a lot of trial and error. We test the waters. We do different timings. We do different programs. What have you found to be successful in growing DST? And we read a lot. I read a lot of books. I'm going to share some of these links for books. I passed them on to Rick, and we tried a lot of different marketing techniques. But I want to get his insight on what he feels has been the most successful for our growth.
Basically, what I think of being the most successful for the growth is having a planned, structural approach to our marketing. So lately we've turned, and it's helping. We can see through the inquiries and people coming to the gym, but we have an approach right now where we use Hootsuite, and every Friday we plan what we're going to do for the following week. So we used to kind of put different things out, and now we are picking one sole thing and focusing on that, so that content keeps going out every day, multiple times a day, so people are seeing it, because things get pushed down, clicked over, pushed down. So for example, right now we're doing the Trench Academy. It's a program for linemen, and we're constantly concentrating on that. We're posting links, we're doing testimonials, pictures, what we're doing with the program, and it's slowly gaining ground. It's not like it's going to have 15 people sign up a day. It's really not how it goes ever. For the next couple of weeks, we're going to be following up on the Perpetual program, which is the program we run in here for people that are late in their 50s, 60s, who are retired, who need to get back into the gym, who need to get in shape, So we're going to focus on that. And I think that's one thing that's really been able to really start pushing a lot of interest in the gym. I don't know what you think about it, but it's changes.
And we experiment with different social media formats. You guys know how I feel about social media. It's kind of a necessary evil. You have to be utilizing those formats if you want to stay competitive in today's business landscape. But we utilize multiple channels of social media along with print advertising. You write articles for some local newspapers that get published online. We were doing a lot of video demonstrations and instructional videos that we also publish and share. And then, like Rick mentioned, we come up with topics, we have a concentration, and I program it, and then I also take a look at the analytics of it. So I'm able to track and see the number of click-throughs. I'm able to see whether that comes from a mobile device or a desktop computer, and also down to the ISO. I can determine if it's on an Android phone or an iPhone or an iPad. I get all of that data. So that tells us a lot, and we strategically pick the time of day to try to target a specific market. So these are all things you want to consider, and we'll talk more about that in the next few weeks in marketing as well. But and then last but not least, the last question, and this is kind of a challenging one too, because sometimes the younger mind doesn't necessarily grasp this, or you think that you perhaps might not find this to be necessary. But would you recommend a young business owner to seek help from an accountant and or a lawyer?
Yeah. I mean, you gotta know someone. It's better to know a lawyer. We have a lawyer. He's a friend of ours. He takes unbelievable good care of us, and it's important because you can get burned big time. People are out to burn you sometimes, and I hate to say that, but it's the truth. As far as an accountant, CPA, you need somebody to help structure your business. A lot of times the business will try to do everything, but early on you're going to have to, but as time goes you have to delegate or you'll never get anything done. You can't constantly work in your business. You got to work on it. And if you find yourself, I think you need to find a lawyer that's going to set you up with an LLC or whatever you have to have. You need to do things right. Don't be the cheap person that's like, I'll get by to save this money. It's not the approach you need to take. You need to do it correctly. As far as a CPA and accountant, they can help set you up with QuickBooks. Like my wife and I, we had a CPA for a long time, an accountant for a long time, whatever, because we had babies, so we needed help. We couldn't do everything. But now that our kids are getting older, we use our accountant less and we're using QuickBooks more, and it's helped us save money, but it's taken us almost 8 years to get to that point. Maybe some of you might take less because you might be a little bit quicker at that stuff than my wife and I. It's not our cup of tea. But we've learned to do it, and you constantly, as you go, should be able to get better at things like that.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times, as a young business owner, if you're not familiar with that particular side of the business,
right,
I think it's important to reach out to people and talk to people and inquire, send messages, to try to get as much of professional advice. Because you don't want to find yourself, owing some sort of back taxes or, like liability issue for imagery or music that you may have integrated into a video. If there's proprietary information that you've shared, or you got to think about email communication and all these different areas that someone could possibly try to hold you responsible for. So. I myself, even my own business, I have a friend, he's my lawyer. He takes care of me, he draws up my waiver, takes care of my insurance. And I have a financial advisor and a certified accountant that takes care of all of my tax information, because you got quarterly taxes.
You got it all.
There's a lot that comes into play. And obviously this is contingent on your growth. The bigger you get, the harder it is to manage these specific areas. So I think it's always good to have that.
You're never going to be perfect. Sometimes you're going to be like, what the heck? But that's business. I mean, sometimes you just can't. You just have to just have to try to be steady with
Right,
it.
right. So, well, that's it. That's all we have for this week. I want to thank Rick for taking the time to do this. So week 1's in the books. And that's it. Stay on the work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.